Please join me in Gasho. The light of compassion illumines us from afar. Those beings it reaches, it is taught, attain the joy of Dharma. So take refuge in Amida, the great consolation. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to March, if you can believe it. I want to start with a question. When you leave this temple today and go back to your life, back to your work, your family, your neighborhood, the news that you read on your phone, what do you carry with you? Is the Dharma something that stays here in the Hondo, in the glow of the candle, or the smell of the incense, or the beauty of the onaiji? Or does it come with you? Jodo Shinshu has always been, at its heart, a teaching for ordinary people living ordinary lives. Shinran Shonin did not stay in the monastery. He came down from Mount Hiei and lived among the fishermen and farmers, merchants, and outcasts. He married. He ate meat. He grieved. He made mistakes. And he kept saying to anyone who would listen, this teaching is for you, exactly as you are, right here, right now. Today I want to explore what it means to let wisdom and compassion become action, to move with us and through us and into the world. In Jodo Shinshu, wisdom is not primarily about intellectual mastery. We are not liberated by correct theological understanding. Wisdom, in the deepest sense, is the clear seeing that arises when we honestly recognize what we are. Shinran talked of Jiriki Hakarai, self-calculating mind, the habit we all have of measuring ourselves, managing our image, convincing ourselves that we are a little better, a little more enlightened, a little more deserving than we actually are. Shinran called himself Shotoku, a foolish, stubborn monk with a shaved head, a layman who could not claim purity. This was not false modesty. It was the most honest and liberating thing he could say. And his teaching was not that we should try harder to overcome this tendency. His teaching was that we cannot. We are beings of blind passions, caught in greed, anger, delusion, unable by our own efforts alone to free ourselves. Seeing this is the beginning of wisdom. This self-honesty is the door through which liberation enters. Because the moment we stop pretending, something opens. We become available to the truth that Amida's primal vow was made for beings exactly like us. Not for the pure and the accomplished, but for the struggling, the self-deceived, the exhausted. For people who have tried to be good and failed. For people who are not sure they believe, who carry doubts alongside their faith. For all of us. For me. This is Shinjin, that entrusting heart, that turning towards Amida's compassion, not because we have earned the right, but because the door is held open for us. And here's the wisdom. When we sense that truth, we begin to see more clearly. We see ourselves without the constant need to inflate or defend. And because we see ourselves more clearly, we begin, slowly, imperfectly, to see others more clearly too. We see their suffering. We see their humanity. We see that they too are held in Amida's light, whether they know it or not, just like us. That seeing, that clear perception of the world, is wisdom in action. Now, wisdom and compassion in Buddhism are never truly separate. They arise together, illuminate each other. The Sanskrit word for compassion is karuna, often translated as the wish to remove suffering. Not just to feel bad about suffering, not just to sympathize from a comfortable distance, but to actually move toward suffering with the intention of relieving it. Amida's compassion is the model. And what is striking about Amida's compassion is that it is unconditional. It is not transactional. It does not ask whether you are worthy. It does not keep accounts. It does not keep score. It does not say, I helped you last time, now it's your turn. It flows ceaselessly in all directions, like light, which, not coincidentally, is the primary metaphor our tradition uses for Amida, infinite light and life, boundless wisdom and compassion. Light does not decide who to illuminate. It simply illumines. Something in realizing we are on the receiving end of Amida's boundless compassion opens in us compassion that is already in us. The heart that has been touched by the vow becomes more aware to the suffering of others. Not all at once, not without setbacks, but genuinely over time. The practice of Nembutsuge, the remembrance of Amida, softens us. It works on us the way water works on stone. This is what we mean by compassion in action. Not a burst of charitable feeling on a good day, but more of a gradual, ongoing reorientation of our lives toward the suffering of others. We live in a world of tremendous suffering, not in the abstract, not somewhere out there, right here, right now, in our city, in our neighborhood, in our families, among the people who sit next to us on TriMet or stand behind us in line at Fred Meyer. There is the suffering of poverty, of families who do not know how they will pay rent this month. There is the suffering of food insecurity. There is the suffering of homelessness. There is the suffering of loneliness. There is the suffering that comes from being told in 1,000 ways, both overtly and subtly, that you do not belong. That your life matters less, that you are a problem to be managed rather than a person to be honored. There is the suffering of our planet, the forests, the oceans, the climate, the creatures who share this world with us, who did not choose to be caught in the consequences of human choice. All of this is dukkha, the suffering that Buddha named as the first of the Four Noble Truths. It is real. It is here. And the Dharma does not give us permission to look away. The Dharma informs us that the suffering of others is our suffering. At the last OBT board meeting, the board approved the creation of a new social engagement committee. And the purpose of that committee is to guide us on how we can engage with society, with our community, and what should we do. In the 20 plus years that Maho and I have been coming to OBT, there's been numerous opportunities to participate in activities, but a lot of times the activities have been single events. They've been more event driven. And what this committee is looking to do is to make it more of a program of what we're doing. And like I said, it was just instituted a month ago, so we're right in the early stages of deciding, but we are looking to what we can do as a community to improve things. In Jodo Shinshu, social engagement must be rooted in gratitude, in the sense of indebtedness and thanksgiving for the gifts we have received through Amita's vow, through our teachers, through this tradition, through the Sangha that holds us. When we work in the world, when we volunteer, when we advocate, when we show up, we do not do it to prove anything. We do not do it to earn liberation. We do not do it because we are certain we are right. We do it because we have been given so much. And the natural response to receiving great gifts is to become generous with others. And we do it with humility because we know we are also blind. We know our good intentions do not guarantee good outcomes. We know the people we seek to help are not projects to be fixed. They are full human beings, held in Amita's light, with their own wisdom and dignity. Whatever good arises from our actions, we offer it outward. We do not hoard it. Do not point to it as evidence of our spiritual progress. It flows through us and continues. So what does this actually look like in a Sangha, in a community like ours? Social engagement does not have to mean marching in the streets, though it can. Last week, OBT publicly supported and temple members participated in the Day of Remembrance and rallied to resist ICE. Social engagement does not have to mean partisan politics. And frankly, I feel very strongly that it cannot be partisan. Social engagement, rooted in our tradition, looks more like participating in the wider community, supporting and partnering with food banks. And we have volunteered at the Oregon Food Bank and have held food drives for our food bank, as well as for the student food pantry at Portland State. Also, immigrant support organizations. We have supported Suru for Solidarity and held a Know Your Rights training session. Or, mental health advocacy groups or environmental groups. It also looks like being willing to speak, even when it is uncomfortable. Shinran spoke. He spoke against the persecution of people who practiced Nembutsuge. He spoke against religious institutions that used their authority to exclude and to punish. He spoke against the emperor and high-ranking ministers. He paid a price for that speaking, but the Dharma as he understood it, required it. In our time, speaking will look different than it did for Chiron. It might mean an email written or a vote cast. It might mean simply refusing to pretend that someone's suffering is not happening. We engage not because we think Buddhism has all the answers, but because we have been given a practice that opens our eyes to suffering. And we cannot simply keep that gift for ourselves. Let's return to where this talk began with the question, what do you carry with you when you leave the Hondo? I hope we carry the Nembutsuge as a living reminder that we are embraced. That even in our confusion, our failings, our ordinary human mess, we are not abandoned. The vow was made for us. And I hope the recognition that we are unfailingly embraced in universal compassion makes us, over time, a little more capable of embracing others. Not perfectly, not without mistakes, not from a place of spiritual superiority, but genuinely, humbly, gratefully, as people who know what it is to give a gift that was not earned and who feel the call to share. The Dharma is not a refuge from the world. It is a practice for living in the world more honestly, more openly, more lovingly. Wisdom sees clearly. Compassion moves toward what is seen. And when they work together, we cannot help but be engaged. Please join me, Gasho. The light of compassion illumines us from afar. Those beings it reaches, it is taught, attain the joy of Dharma. So take refuge in Amida, the great consolation. Nam Amitabha. Nam.